Hey everybody, I'm Rachel and welcome back to Conversations with Dental Friends, the go-to podcast for dental professionals who are ready to level up, redefine success on their own terms and actually enjoy their careers again. Today's guest is someone I've been so excited to speak with. It's the brilliant Siobhan Kelleher. Siobhan is a powerhouse in the dental hygiene arena who's taken her clinical background and built something genuinely so amazing around it. She's expanded into education, brand consultancy and advocacy, and she's the creator of an Ikigai accredited course that's helping professionals upskill and grow with a real purpose and direction. She's not only shaping the future of dental hygiene, she's changing the way professionals think about their value in the wider dental landscape, which I think is so exciting. And yes, this conversation is packed full of insights for dental hygienists and dental therapists, but it goes so much deeper than that. If you've ever had that gut feeling that you're meant for more impact, more creativity, more growth in your role, Siobhan's story will absolutely light a fire in you. Just before we dive in, a quick favour, if you're enjoying the podcast and want to help more dental professionals hear these kinds of conversations, please give the podcast a follow. It helps more than you know and it means you won't miss any of the inspiring episodes that are still to come. Let's get into it. Here's Siobhan Kelleher and trust me, you're going to feel so energised after this one. This podcast is sponsored by Dürr Dental, a company that's been setting the standard in dental innovation for over 80 years. Whether it's their ultra-reliable suction systems, world-class hygiene solutions, or cutting-edge dental imaging technology, Dürr Dental supports dental professionals who take their craft seriously. Check them out at durdental.com because excellence starts with the tools you trust. And of course, a huge congratulations to Oratol celebrating 60 incredible years this year. Happy birthday, Oratol. Here's to many more years of innovation and excellence. I truly couldn't imagine the dental industry without you. So happy birthday from Conversations with Dental Friends. Welcome, Siobhan. Thank you so much for joining me here in Kilkenny for Conversations with Dental Friends. It is such a pleasure to have you here with me on my podcast.
Thank you very much, Rachel. I'm really looking forward to this.
I'm excited.
Beautiful sunny weather here.
I know we are having the Day of Dreams.
Absolutely.
The Irish Day of Dreams, which we never really get.
No.
Siobhan, take us right back to the beginning. How did your journey into dentistry begin and how has your role evolved over the years into what it is today?
Okay, I was actually studying to be a social worker, but I was very young and the content was quite overwhelming on the course.
Yeah.
So I came home and I just said to my parents, I think I'll take a year out. My mother's fairly driven and said, well, you can take a year out, but you'll have to do something.
Yeah.
And you'll have to have a look at maybe doing a qualification within the year. Looking back, perhaps it was good advice because I probably could have partied up that year. Do you know what I mean? So I had a look around, had a think, and then a job as a dental receptionist came up and I thought, I remember a dental nurse coming out in the uniform once. She was been really nice to me. And I thought, that's kind of a nice role, but not necessarily thinking it was going to be a role for me. So I took the dental reception job. And then one day, whatever happened to the dental nurse, I had to stand in and a mother and son came in and the son had fractured his incisal edge.
Oh.
They were traumatised. I was traumatised for them.
Yeah. It's a horrible thing to happen.
I was assisting and then I just seen them recreate this beautiful tooth and the joy in the mum and the little boy, and that was it. I was like, I can't go back to reception. This is for me.
Yes.
So sadly, I had to leave that practice, and it was fabulous because the dentist was a brilliant mentor, but there wasn't a role because no dental nurse wanted to leave. So I went to become a dental nurse.
Wow.
And then quickly, within a couple of years, I ended up in a practice manager role, which I loved. But again, probably quite young, but loved the business side.
Yes.
I am creative.
Yes.
So I absolutely loved the creativity that came with that role as well. I ended up managing 2 dental practices. But the clinical called me.
It did.
And then I went to become a dental hygienist. So I applied everywhere and Cork came up. And that's why I ended up relocating to Cork. meeting my husband-to-be, and then we went
Yes.
to London, Manchester, and that's how I'm back in Cork.
Amazing.
So when I relocated back, there were no positions in Ireland, but I knew what it was like to practice manage.
Yes.
So I went around a few doors, banging on the door, saying, will you let me rent a room? Because there was no positions, absolutely none. And I opened a practice within a practice from scratch,
Yes.
but no direct access.
Okay. So you were dependent on those referrals coming in from the dentist.
Yeah. Now I went out into the community. I did workshops. I give talks in diabetes centres. And I went out and found the patients myself. I brought them back and the dentist did the referrals for me and so on. But shoulder pain kicked in.
Right.
So I had to kind of pull back a little bit from that. And then I decided that I wanted to go back and study. So I had a teaching qualification. I went back into the masters.
Wow.
But when I came out of the masters, I thought that was it. And believe me, I didn't find that very easy because it wouldn't be natural for me to be doing theses and things like that. Now it has become natural because that's what I do now. But when I came out, treating the patient, I went to do the coaching because I wanted to know more about behaviour change, and what we do chairside. But then I came out of doing the master and I said, there's still something missing for me. And then I went to the Royal College of Surgeons and I did the positive health.
Ooh.
And it was just like light bulb.
Yes. That was your lane. You were in the right place.
I was in the right place. But do you know, Rachel, that they did not even mention oral health in that programme?
That's insane. That's crazy.
So I kept putting it in my assignments to try and create awareness.
Yeah.
And
Signpost it.
Then I said, well, if that's not there, my colleagues need to know this information. You know, the World Health Organization is calling on governments, are looking at mid-level professionals. While we might not like that term, that's just a term they've kind of given to us.
Yes.
But they're looking at us to look at preventative advice, the risk factors for non-communicable diseases. And that's where the lifestyle medicine fits in.
That's
and the positive psychology.
I love that, Siobhan, because you're in a very unique position, I feel, because you have touched on every role, really, within the dental practice. And I think that gives you such an amazing 360 view of how the practice comes together, front of stage, backstage, what it takes from a business side, what it takes from a nursing side, what it takes from a welcome team side. So I think that that's so interesting how your role has evolved over time, and then moving into a non-clinical side again in terms of education. I really love that. Could you pick a favourite role? If you weren't going to pick a role that was to do, say, with oral health, would you have preferred to work in reception? Do you prefer to work with the nursing side of things? Did you prefer the management role?
Well, somebody said to me the other day, one of my colleagues, that they just had to stand in on an implant case to do some dental nursing. I said, I absolutely love dental nursing.
Yes.
I did love that, even though I didn't do it for very long. But practice management, I love business. I love how
it too.
the cogs, it's a really interesting role. And it's nice that if you're clinical as well, that you can keep that side of it, but then come out. And as I mentioned earlier, the creativity around that, like marketing is amazing now, isn't it?
And fabulous. Sometimes I think it's really mad that, well, I reflect sometimes and think it's mad that I didn't do anything with a business core to it. But it wasn't on my radar at all at the time. And it wasn't until then I started working within a business, and not just a dental business, but whenever I worked as a barista in a coffee shop, I thought, I want to know more about how that business side of things works. Or whenever I used to work in an interior shop called Au Naturel many years ago, I always was very keen. I was taken advantage of, really, because I was doing lots of managery kind of jobs without receiving a without receiving a manager's wage. But I always find that interesting. So I love that you found that kinship with the business side of practice, because not everybody does. Siobhan, you've been working closely with NSK for a number of years now, and you're also the mind behind the Ikigai programme, which I love, leading both clinically and from a project perspective. For those who aren't familiar, can you tell us what Ikigai is all about and how the concept has shaped or inspired your work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Ikigai Oral Hygiene Community, really, it's a platform, and it's for our colleagues. So if you have a passion, we want to support you to get that passion out there and to share it with our colleagues and come and bring those ideas.
Yeah.
If you've never presented before, we're more than happy to run through presenting with you. We're not saying we're experts at anything like that. It's about giving things a go.
Yeah.
And really getting into the community and sharing those ideas.
And I think it's brilliant to have that aspect of community, because dental hygiene is a lonely role, and Ikigai really does feel like, it feels like a group of cheerleaders that are there for you, everybody wants everyone else to do well. Everyone is so supportive within Ikigai. You feel that whenever you see the posts and whenever you're on a webinar and all of those things. I remember right at the beginning of Ikigai on Instagram, and there were these posts of everyone wearing like pink wigs. Do you remember that? And I thought that was so much fun, and I think that just is the epitome of what the group is all about, is not taking yourself too seriously, I guess.
Absolutely not. We actually dyed our hair pink for that, some of us. But the other thing I was saying, have you seen the film Dodgeball? I always say we're like Joe's Club. We're such a mixed bag in there. Do you know what I mean?
It's so funny. I love that.
I know.
I love that. The average Joe's nothing average about Ikigai. Nothing average about Ikigai at all.
7 years ago, I was asked to go on a KOL meeting in Frankfurt. There was actually been run by Prof. Keschel.
Okay.
Now, at that time, I had been asked to speak at the Lithuanian Dental Hygiene Association, and they were flying us out.
Wow.
It sounds really exciting and glam, doesn't it? But you know, actually, the reality of that, Rachel, I was thinking about this, is that I was flying into Manchester to catch the plane to Frankfurt, and they sent a text message to my phone that said the flight's delayed. Oh. So I just looked up at the screen and seen the next flight or whatever it was, sat down, waited, went up to board, and they said, "Oh, your flight's gone." So I said, "But it was delayed." And they said, "Yeah, but only by 5 minutes." Oh. So I actually had to buy my own ticket. It would cost me £400 at the time. Alex doesn't know that from NSK to this day. So we went to that and we were introduced to the Ikigai concept, and then we really looked into it. What shined for us is Ikigai is your passion, what you love doing, what makes you get up in the morning, what does the world need, what can you be paid for. It's your passion, your mission. And the biggest one in that is your vocation.
Yes.
In dentistry, it has to be a vocation because it's kind of a tough industry to be in.
It really is.
So if it wasn't a vocation, I'm not too sure many people would stick it out. They genuinely want to be here if you're in dentistry, don't they? So we got introduced to that, and we started some courses. And then COVID hit, and we said, okay, we need to help out the graduates here. They were really under pressure. So 5 years ago, like our social media presence started. We had a lot of new graduates. We started the webinars. We did yoga. We did live interviews. It was just trying to bring a community together that was very lost. The associations were doing their thing as well and still do their thing. It's a voluntary role for them. So we now have 19 educators, and as you know, we do hands-on programs. We do the webinars, the live, and we go with the flow because it's our colleagues of what's going on right now. And one of the different things that we probably did was take training into the company areas. Instead, we're behind closed doors. I say, why don't you get your stands working?
Yes.
So if you think about a company, you've got a break, and this is probably looking at the business side as well. You're only going to get a few people coming up. You're only going to get that little bit of time. But the educators within these companies are absolutely amazing. I've worked on both sides now for quite a few years.
Yes.
The knowledge they have to share. So why don't, get the stand working and share that knowledge, if you like, rather than just standing on a stand. And that's how that started.
And it's something memorable as well to take away, because I think there's a little saying, tell me I forget, show me I'll remember, teach me I'll learn. I can't remember exactly what it is, but there's something around demonstrating, feeling it with your own hands, seeing how that works. You become immediately more engaged by having that physical aspect there whenever you're looking at a product. So I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, within the programme as well, it's not just NSK, it's TP and JNS Davis.
Yes.
And one thing that I really like to portray out there is that we talk about all brands, all equipment, all powders, all of the, not just NSK. So that's very important for me to say.
It's that education across everything, because you need to be flexible. You need to know what's happening for your own education, for your patient's education, for your colleagues' education. You need that breadth. So I think that is so important. Siobhan, it's clear that personal growth and further education are huge values to you, and not just for your own development, but for those around you as well. How have you expanded your learning journey, and what would your advice be for someone who's looking to take a similar path? It's a big question.
It's a big question. Look, for me, it has given me a confidence. In coaching, we talk about that everybody has potential to reach into performing and living the best life. There's a lot of interference in the way in the middle, and that can come in all types of different forms. In particular, I think my colleagues, the interference can be fear.
Yeah.
When I was on the master's program, we were doing psychodynamics with Sebastian Green, and in one of the lectures, he said, everything doesn't have to be perfect. It needs to be good enough.
Yeah.
Honestly, Rachel, it was like a light bulb moment. I was Miss Perfectionist.
I need to hear that every day of my life.
And it was just like something had been lifted off my shoulders, and I've never looked back since that lecture, because I wouldn't do things because it had to be perfect before I do it. Now I just go in there, give it a try. If it doesn't work, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's about trialing things, and I understand the fear because I was there myself, but education really lifted me up. I've seen things from a different way. I can now critically look at a paper. I couldn't do that before.
Yes.
You can write assignments, articles, and so on. So the people around me that I've been running the courses, and I see the confidence in them.
Yeah.
They're all gone on to do different things. They started on a screen, kind of shy. We always say in groups, cold, shy and awkward. All groups start out as cold, shy and awkward. Did you know that?
No.
And then they start to bond, and they go through a process, and then you just see them all bonding. And now they keep in contact, and they're telling you what they do, and the excitement over the phone. So it probably gives you confidence, I would think, that I've seen and witnessed in the last couple of years.
Amazing. Siobhan, Ikigai seems to really lead the way when it comes to high quality and hands-on training, and you've played a major part in that. For anyone listening who's thinking about creating a course or stepping into education, what insights or advice would you share from your own experience?
For sure, it needs to be a passion. And don't think that you're going to be making money out of it.
No, absolutely.
Because the thing is, people kind of go, oh, it's that amount. That's how many delegates you got. God, you're making a lot of money. Actually, that's far from the truth. Venue costs are huge. And by the time you take lunches, marketing and everything like that into it, very often you can just be in the red. This is the other thing that the companies really support. So they pick up a lot of that fee to help educate us out. So I would say looking at companies, seeing what the values are. Can you talk about products? So I have worked closely with NSK, TP, and JNS Davis involved in Ikigai, but I've been a TP educator for 13 years.
Yeah.
Now I can remain independent. I can talk about whatever brand that I want. And that's hugely important for me.
Yes.
I think if you want to go and do a course, go and shadow somebody. Ask them, can you shadow them? What was the involvement up to that? It can take hours of your life preparing a course, And then on the day, are you going to be delivering? Are you what we call, are you hosting up in the runner?
Yes.
Because the runner is the most important job to keep everything on time. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But I think you need a teaching qualification.
Yeah.
Because you need to know your audience. It's okay having been passionate about something, but you really need to understand diverse groups, inclusivity, and there's so much that you learn, even about aims and objectives. The amount of times I get aims and objectives and aims and outcomes sent into me, and I just breathe and I have to rewrite them. So when you go and do a teaching qualification, they'll go through that with you, how to do that and how to set up a lesson plan.
Yes.
So when somebody's teaching, there's a lesson plan often behind it. And if there isn't, I'll spot it straight away.
Really? That's so interesting, because I've spoken to quite a few people now, Siobhan, on our last season of the podcast around education and moving into education and what advice people might pass on. And you're the first person that said, look at a teaching qualification. And it's just it makes so much sense, because if you want to go into education, you want to be a teacher, let's back ourselves up with some firm, evidence-based research, statistics, exactly what you're saying, lesson plans, a bit of a syllabus there, aims and objectives. I can't think of how many times I've done little presentations. Maybe I've started with Lunch and Learns, I've spoken at various events. I don't have a teaching qualification. Aims and objectives, it's difficult to get your head around sometimes about what you want to project out there, especially if you want your content to be CPD accredited.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think reach out to your colleagues. Like, if anybody ever wants to send aims and outcomes to me, I'm more than happy to look over them.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
But the thing is, you can do a teaching qualification in a very short time, a very basic one, and they are fantastic.
Yes.
But it gives you an idea of what you should be looking for. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes we're just so passionate about getting our topic and the point across.
Yeah.
That we kind of get lost in the delivery of what we're doing ourselves. Mm-hmm. But actually, it's never about us.
Exactly.
It's about your audience.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I find in dentistry, it needs to be a little bit more about the learners or the delegates that are coming along.
Yes, that's such a good point as well, because we are very passionate people, and it's a passion project, and you think, who is this passion project for? And you have to really be quite honest with yourself and say, is it for me? That's a fair question. And if it is for you, if it is a little bit for you, that's okay. Yeah. Because you want to reach other areas of your career, you want to expand your own learnings and experiences and knowledge. But you do have to remember, if you want to get into education and deliver educational content, it's for the person receiving that information mostly.
Absolutely. And just there a few months ago, I was delivering some training, mm-hmm. and the person that was with me said, that person in the corner is very rude. Then, like, totally ignoring, they're not even engaged. And I said, I don't agree with you. I'd say they're probably an auditory learner.
Yes.
And when we went to do the hands-on, that learner was so engaged. Uh-huh. So the other person came up to me and said, Siobhan, I got that so wrong.
Yes.
So this is what I'm saying about having a qualification. And remember that I'm saying it only has to be a basic one. It makes you think differently.
Yes.
You know that there's other things that can be going on in that classroom or that room when you're delivering content.
I really love that, Siobhan. That's definitely something that's going to be on my list for the future. Absolutely, because I find that so interesting. You also offer one-to-one coaching, which is such a powerful shift from traditional clinical practice. What has stepping into the coaching space been like for you, and how do you think having a coach can help someone unlock their potential both professionally and personally?
So it's all about the relationship and the coach. It has to be a right fit.
Yes.
So if you were going to see a coach, I would say have a discovery call, because you know that gut instinct.
Yes.
You know that you go, this person gets me.
Mm-hmm.
Or you get this kind of gut feeling like this doesn't feel right.
Yes.
I just think for coaching it has to feel right. It's the most powerful thing I think that I've ever done in my life, and witnessed the transformation of somebody that can come along that isn't maybe not in a good place. I'm not meaning that they need counselling, because sometimes you have to signal to counselling and that somebody might come back to you. But the transformation that can happen literally by asking the right questions.
Yes.
So some people think that a coach is going to be there to tell you what to do, but actually no, a coach really unlocks your ideas. And that's what I love.
Yes.
Because even I was at a conference there a while ago, and somebody came up to me and they said, oh, Siobhan, you know what? You need to do this, that and the other. And then you need to do this, that. And I thought, I'm actually quite happy with the way my thing's going. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe it doesn't look the right thing for you, but actually it's the right thing for me. And my life's working fine, thank you very much.
Exactly.
But they should have turned it around, really, and considered asking the questions.
This episode is sponsored by Lighthouse Dental Company, your partner in creating beautiful, functional dental practices. From equipment supply and servicing to full refurbishments, including flooring, cabinetry, electronics and plumbing, they manage the entire project so that dentists can focus on what matters first, their patients. You can explore how they bring practices to life at lighthousedentalcompany.com.
So, yeah, asking the right questions and just seeing them, my colleagues go through that transformation. So when I said earlier, it's about getting rid of the interference.
Yes.
So we've all got potential, all of us. And I really firmly believe you can have and do or be anything that you want.
I love that.
But you have to get to the performance stage. And sadly, a lot of people in life never get to perform the life that they want.
Yeah.
And then what they say is the biggest regret for people at the end of life is not things that they did, but the things that they didn't do.
Amen.
So that interference there can be a lot in that space for people. I don't know whether you know that, but like your environment only really affects 10% of your happiness. But I blamed practices where I used to work for that. Yes. 40% is in our own control. And I didn't know that. But now when I did then, so 50% is genetic, 10 is your environment, 40 is, you can control this. But I was blaming practices for not doing things the way I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started to do some self-development, I said, okay, I can control this in a different way.
Yes.
And I think through self-development like that, you can kind of control and make things a little bit happier yourself, even like know what your strengths are. So would you know what your strengths are, Rachel?
I would say that my strengths are... Oh, I don't know. It feels weird to talk about myself in this way, but I would say that I'm warm. I think that's that's a strength. I would say that I give the appearance of confidence. I don't always feel very confident. I always feel like I'm an anxious extrovert, so I'll go through and I'll do things that are maybe more extroverted, and then I need to go and lie down somewhere or go to the bathroom for 5 minutes and reset and go back into that again. I would say that I like to be as informed as I possibly can. So I'd like to say that I am knowledgeable, and I would like to say that I'm passionate. Maybe they would be my strengths. And I think I always try to be kind. I think kind is something that I like to aspire to be as well. So I'm not sure if that is right, but
amazing.
That's what I would hope that I would like to write on my little piece of paper, what I would like to be as a person, I guess. I'm not sure.
They're fantastic. Actually, we'll go and do your character strengths at a different time, and we'll go through them and tell you what they are. And actually my number one that comes out of my character strengths when you do, because I do psychometric testing.
Yes.
But one of the ones that comes up for me is kindness.
Yeah.
So when you said kindness, and I remember having it done and just saying to the coach at the time, isn't everybody kind? And he said, no.
Yeah.
That doesn't often come up as number one. I was like, oh, really? But then as we went through the coaching session, I realised the practice at the time where I was at, situations were making me really react. And it was because there was a lot of unkindness.
Yes.
But I was able to stop reacting and start responding and saying, okay, that's not a kind situation. And I'm observing that, and I will deal with that later in a different way, rather than totally reacting.
Yes.
Not making a scene, but you get me. Like there's a lot going on with energies and dental practices, isn't there?
Oh, there is. I always feel people in dentistry have to learn how to read a room quickly every single day, read it multiple times a day, because it is a very fluid situation and you need to have an awareness of what's going on there. It makes me actually very on edge if someone is being unkind, because it just really doesn't sit well with me at all. And sometimes I think in dentistry it can be an unkind place to be. And
much.
I would love to promote more kindness in dentistry with my colleagues and my dental relationships that I have, or just continue to foster that environment. And that sounds like that's really, really important to you as well.
Yeah, I think in dental practice, like one of the things, I don't know whether you're familiar with group forming, but when a team or a group come together, they go through different stages. So norming, storming, performing, and so on. But there's a process that you go through. But if somebody leaves that team, you have to go right back to the beginning again.
Wow.
And if practices could understand the psychology of what's happening, I think we probably need to create more of an awareness of that.
Yes.
Maybe I need to write some more articles and so on around that as well. And then I don't know if you're familiar with the drama triangle.
No, but I'm sure I've been in a few.
Definitely been in so many. Oh my God. There's the persecutor, the victim, and the rescuer.
Right.
And then
I'm a rescuer. That is my role all day long. I rescue.
But then the persecutor could say, "Would you?" They could start having a go at you because you've been rescuing, and then all of a sudden you become the victim.
Yes.
And then it swaps again, and that has happened in dentistry. So I see it all the time. But if there was some training on this, that you'd understand what was going on.
Yes.
You say, right, take myself out of the drama triangle.
I love that.
Do you know what I mean?
That is my new phrase. I actually have, I feel a bit weird saying this on this podcast, but I'll just roll with it. I have removed myself a little bit in day-to-day practice I've started doing this thing as I race towards 40. I'm not there yet, but where I have personal policies. And I have personal policies around lots of different things now in my life. And it's nearly like a boundary. And something that I do now, at lunchtime now, I need for my own self, 60 minutes. It's never really 60 minutes, but I need a little bit of time, a pause point in the day where I am not interacting with my practice so that I can recharge and be the best person that I can be after that pause. So that's something that I've tried to implement for myself. I go for a walk at lunchtime. I'll do some admin. It's not that necessarily that I'm not working in that time, or I even go to my car, I listen to a podcast, I do something like that. And I think that takes me out of the drama triangle.
Yes.
It gives me some headspace and it makes me feel the fairest person that I can be, because I'm not investing in any particular group, because I think dental cliques can be a very real issue in dentistry. And I want to be friends with everyone.
Yeah, but you do need the time out. And another thing is, a lot of time we end up writing notes and we don't get out for that break at lunchtime. Yes. But looks light is very important for us.
It is.
And I always say, just get that cup of tea, even in the winter, get your coat on and get out, because your body needs to know if it's nighttime or daytime.
Yes.
Because electricity only came in over 100 years ago. You know, if we think about here in Ireland, we were still on lamplight. And all of a sudden now there's light 24 hours round the clock, and our bodies are going, hang on a minute.
What are you doing to me?
What's going on? And then, you can't sleep, and it's all to do with not getting the lux light in the day. But we need to get out and get at least that 10,000 lux a day. So
I remember we did that before, actually, at BSCHT. That's right.
I brought you out on the lake.
And we all went out to the lake as if we were on the Riviera, and we had a cup of tea, and it was invigorating. So I definitely agree with that. That is so, so important. Siobhan, as we move through our careers, there's often this natural pivot taking on more of a non-clinical side to our work while still staying connected to patient care. You've navigated that transition so well. What have your biggest takeaways been when it comes to building a career that spans both clinical and non-clinical roles?
Okay. I would look and see who are the companies that you want to work with. So it's a little bit like the practice. Years ago, when I was in London, for instance, I would look at adverts, say, okay, I'll go and try that. And after going through about 20 practices, and my husband saying to me,
it's like speed dating.
Yeah. He was like, why can't you keep a job down? I said, well, I can, but I just don't want that type of job. So I had to go, Siobhan, how are you going to, well, you have to do something different here. So then I said, I walked past Ultra Smile in Limehouse and I said, I'm going to work there.
Yes.
So I went in and I said, and they said, oh, we haven't got any roles at the moment. So I gave them my CV and I said, I'm around the corner, blah, blah, blah. And a week later I went in and that was that. It was the job of my life.
Wow.
So the same thing, I now say, don't wait for things. Go and get it. Go to that company and say, I want to identify where you want to be. What do you want to do? Do you want to do hands-on training? Do you want to do product? Obviously, pick a specialist product because as clinicians, we have that. What's the research behind a product? There'd be nothing worse than standing there and not having research behind something. You want to feel that passion, be proud of what you're talking about.
It has to be authentic. You need to want to shout this product from the rooftops, regardless of whether you're making money from it or not.
Yeah. And remain independent is very important for me. I think for us to keep your voice.
Yes.
Your voice should never be shut down. As a clinician, you need to be able to say what you have to say.
So contractually then, I suppose, if you are moving into an agreement, say, with a brand, it's important to keep that openness there. That would be your recommendation.
Absolutely.
And you would have that written in that you want to be impartial to an extent.
Yeah, now that might not be important for anybody else, but are you really giving true education if you can't talk about everything?
Yes.
That's what I would question.
Yes, I completely agree with you. And I actually think that's so interesting what you said there, that you need to go to the opportunity. And again, that's been such a common theme across the podcast, is you need to make things happen for yourself. And that's kind of hard to do. That's a hard position to put yourself in, to really put yourself out there. Be okay with rejection. I think that's a massive thing that we need to learn to be okay with. Trust timings of things and have confidence in yourself that you can send an email. Sometimes I'll send an email and I literally am like, oh, and then I press send and I'm like, okay, can't do any more about it. And 9 times out of 10, the response to anything I do like that, when I've had a little bit of bravery, has been positive. It's just like asking you to do the podcast today, whenever I wrote out a little message to you and I was like, send, don't send, send, don't send, oh, send. Oh. And then, yes.
I didn't have that, Rachel.
And then you're here now doing this podcast for me, which is a dream to me.
And it is difficult.
Yes.
It is difficult reaching out. But the thing is, most people are kind.
Yes.
They are.
They are.
And they want to support and they want to help. I have had to have help. Like, I wouldn't think twice about reaching out now.
Yes.
And I've probably been always like that because there's just the things that I do, I can't do by myself.
Yes.
There's an Ikigai team there of the most incredible educators on that team. And it wouldn't happen without them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And equally, now with the course, I've got Elaine Tilling involved, Fiona Elwood, Aidish Duffy. The amount that I've had to learn about education. So I couldn't have done that without them. So it's about reaching out and asking. And send it anyway. Send emails. So who cares? Because even if one bad comes back, there'll be 10 more, you know?
Yes.
And just brush it off and off
Shake
you go.
it off.
Shake it off.
Taylor Swift style. I love that.
So thank you for the compliment, Rachel. But
you're welcome.
I was just actually on the way here today and Catherine Mayo said, why don't you take compliments? Why don't you take compliments? And I think it's maybe, I actually went to school in Ireland, in Navan. So when we were going to school, it was like, would you look at Joanne?
Yeah.
She thinks she's it, you know? Or, oh my God, her head won't even fit through that door.
Yes.
So when you're going to school, I didn't want to put my head above the parapet. I wanted to fit in. I already had an English accent living in Southern Ireland. It's not the easiest thing. So I did not want to stand out anymore. So, yeah, I think that's around the compliment thing. Irish people aren't that great at taking it. It's kind of like, oh, okay, so yeah, that's fine. Oh, yeah, cheers. And, you know, brush it off. We don't celebrate ourselves enough, do we?
Absolutely. It's dulling your light. And sometimes we're very good at fanning someone else's flames, but we're not really great at giving ourselves that moment in time whenever we deserve it, really. I could take that advice on. I should take that advice on to really let yourself shine and take that compliment on board.
Right,
and
Rachel,
enjoy.
We'll check in on each other.
We'll check in. They'll be our accountability buddies on that. Brilliant. Siobhan, you've recently developed the Diploma in Oral and Positive Health, which blends lifestyle medicine with positive psychology, and it's now Ikigai accredited, which is incredible. Can you talk us through how the diploma came to life and what it means to you to have built something like this?
Rachel, it's beyond my wildest dreams.
Wow. I love that.
It started out as a coaching course, and Elaine Tilling had a look at it and said, Siobhan, this content's too good. You need to go and get it accredited.
Wow.
It's like, where do I start? How do I do this? You know, it's all about, obviously, the pillars of lifestyle medicine, positive psychology. I don't know if you've seen the professional speakers that are on the programme.
Insane.
What they have brought, I could never have dreamed it.
Yes.
My first cohort went through last year. Oh my God, it was just the most amazing feeling. And actually, on the final evening of that first year, we were coming to the end, and I was talking about their goals and where they were going to take this. And then the realization came in, these are my goals.
Yes.
And it was so emotional that evening.
I'm sure it was.
I was going around with sunglasses for the rest.
Yeah.
But it was the realization, we can do so much.
Yes.
I've been told, no, you can't do this. You can't say that. You can't do a presentation like that. I can't do black and white. So I do think of doing things a little bit differently to engage people, because I know what I want and my colleagues want. So I just think, if you have an idea, reach out, get the support, go and do it. That cost me the diploma. It's getting better again.
Yes.
And then some dentalness and some of the team, and then the non-dental one is the lifestyle medicine coaching, a certificate that runs with the diploma up until from the September to the January. And that was gorgeous cohort as well. And they are fabulous. And actually a couple of the dental nurses came on that to learn, to kind of upskill to go for dental hygiene.
Yes.
And I actually just got a text today to say one got into Cardiff. I was like, yes. I was doing the happy dance.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
I have never been so invested as whenever somebody that I have worked very closely with alongside makes that leap and gets that acceptance letter. I've been so lucky that 5 of my friends, or I think it's 5 of my friends, have moved into that space of dental hygiene, dental therapy. I genuinely feel every time like it's happened to me.
Yes.
It takes me straight back to whenever I got my acceptance letter, because it's huge. It's huge for them. I love that. And Siobhan, I think if you can't be black and white, do it in colour. That's what you're doing. Absolutely.
Why does everything have to be so boring?
I know.
And that's the other thing about academia. Like, somebody said to me the other day, is the presentation, do you think it looks academic enough? I was like, no, we're not doing that.
Yes.
Bring out your personality in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you are who you are.
Yeah.
And do it your own way.
Yeah. I love that, because why would you want to be like everybody else anyway?
No way.
I wouldn't. No way, baby. So, we're here at the IDA Annual Conference, Irish Dental Association in Kilkenny. My first time in Kilkenny. I love it. And you're speaking alongside Catherine Mayo on the minced approach, which we're all really looking forward to tomorrow. But looking ahead, what's next for you? What's next for Siobhan? Any exciting plans you can share with us?
I have a half an eye on doing a PhD.
Okay. Love that.
But I just need a little bit of a break at the moment, because I've had quite a lot of things happen and a few personal things happen in the last few years, and I threw myself into work. Yes. I need to go and take a little bit of time out, and then I'll probably look at doing the PhD.
Wow.
I am looking at doing some work with Joe Bowles, and we're going to do around leadership and coaching. Great. And do, things around for our colleagues, really, to kind of help them along, diving into the coaching and the psychology, and just making life a bit of a better place for them.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that project. The Ikigai will continue. The diploma, I've already got an absolute gorgeous group signed up, and there's still places for more if you want to come along, of course. That's lovely, because they show up every week and they become very supportive, and, and they have their own little WhatsApp group and everything. So that's brilliant. Yeah, and just enjoying it. I have to sometimes stop myself a little bit and say, are you enjoying this?
Yes.
And stop striving,
Yes.
So I'm going to enjoy the next couple of years.
I think gratitude is so important, and to be reflective about where we're at now, and to really say, look, my goodness, what I've built, what I've achieved, what I've been able to do, and be proud of yourself as well. Sometimes it's hard to be proud of yourself because you're always striving for the next thing. I was chatting to someone about how career in dentistry, and probably career generally, is a bit like setting a course with a plane, and you move the plane a couple of degrees and then you end up over here. So you need to be okay, because it takes a bit of time to get to that place. So you need to be okay with the repercussions of moving the nose of the plane, because you can't say yes to everything. You can't be everything to everyone. You can't be in every place at once. You need to manage your commitments, because whenever you do say yes to something, you say no to something else.
Yeah.
So it's about having that balance there and fulfilling things professionally, but also fulfilling things personally, because that's just as important, more important, because what the hell are we doing it for if we're not feeling great?
Feeling great, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, Siobhan, thank you so much. This has been a fabulous, fabulous chat. I've really enjoyed it. I'm going to, of course, be linking all of Siobhan's courses and information in the show notes today. But it has been great, and I hope that you have a fab time here in Kilkenny. I'm sure there will be a raucous dinner this evening. Maybe not too raucous, because there's presenting happening tomorrow. But I hope you really enjoy yourself, and thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you very much, Rachel.
You're welcome. Wow, what a conversation. I honestly feel so inspired after speaking with Siobhan. There's something just so refreshing about hearing from someone who's found ways to evolve, educate, and empower the next generation of dental professionals. Siobhan is such a great example of what can happen when you stop boxing yourself in and start leaning into your potential, whether that's as a hygienist, a dental therapist, and honestly any dental professional who feels that they are just capable of more. If you're listening and you're curious about taking your first steps into education, you'll want to check out Siobhan's EduQual accredited Level 3 award in education and training. It's such a good course if you've ever thought about teaching, mentoring, or creating educational content. Whether you're thinking about CPD delivery, university lecturing, or just want to grow your confidence, this course is such a brilliant starting point. I'll pop a link in the show notes, of course, if you want to explore any further. You can find Siobhan over on Instagram at Siobhan_education. She's always sharing great updates, case studies, and opportunities. She's also part of the amazing Ikigai Hygiene Community, which supports hygienists and therapists in growing their clinical confidence and professional visibility. If you're not following that already, definitely have a look. It's such a great community to be a part of. Siobhan's also worked with a range of global dental brands and advisory boards, so if you're curious about roles beyond the clinic, this is your reminder that anything is possible. If this episode has lit something new, whether it's an idea, a question, a dream you've been putting off, please share it with us, share it with me. You can tag us at Conversations with Dental Friends. I'm always hanging out at Homegirl Hygienist, of course. Let us know your thoughts, let us know what stood out for you, or just come and say hey. And if you've got a dental friend who needs to hear this, send it their way, copy the link, drop it into the group chat, share it to your stories. It honestly means the world, and it helps keep these conversations going. Big thank you again to Siobhan, and a big love to you for being here. I'll see you next week for another episode of Conversations with Dental Friends.